whether false or true. And how is one to know oneself at the given moment if it is true? That's part of the question. Why do you want to know if it is true? A fact is a fact. It's not true or false. It's only that I want to translate that fact according to my sensation, to my ideation. Then I enter into delusion. When I am angry, it's a fact. There is no question of self-deception. When I am lustful, when I am greedy, when I am irritated, it's a fact. Only when I begin to justify it, find explanations for it, which is translated according to my prejudice, in my favor, or avoid it, then I have to find out. Then I have to say, what is true? That is, the moment we approach a fact emotionally, sentimentally, with ideation, then we enter into the world of illusion and self-deceit. But to look at a fact requires an extraordinary watchfulness, to be free of all this, to look at something. Therefore, it's more important to find out for oneself, not if one is in illusion or self-deception, but to be free from the desire to identify, from the desire to have a sensation which you call experience repeated, from possessing or reverting to an experience. After all, from moment to moment, you can know yourself as you are, factually, not through the screen of ideation, which is sensation. To know oneself, there is no necessity to know the truth or not the truth. To look at yourself in the mirror and say that one is ugly or beautiful, factually, not romantically, does not demand truth. But the difficulty with most of us is that what we see, the image or the feeling or the expression of what we want to do something about it. We want to alter it, give it a different name. We want to identify with it. If it is pleasurable, the more identification. If it is painful, the avoidance. In this process lies surely self-deception. With which you are somewhat familiar. The politicians do that, and the priests talk of God in the name of religion. When we ourselves are caught up in the sensation of ideas and hold to them, that this is true, this is false, the masters exist or don't exist, which is also absurd and immature and childish. But to find out what is factual, one needs an extraordinary alertness, an awareness in which there is neither condemnation nor justification. So one can say that one deceives oneself and there is illusionment when there is identification with the country, with a belief, with an idea, with a person. And so on. When there is the desire to repeat an experience, which is the sensation of the experience, when one goes back to childhood and wants the repetition of that experiences of childhood, the delight, the nearness, the sensitivity, or when one wants to be something. It is extremely difficult not to be deceived, either through oneself or deceived by another. And deception ceases only when there is no desire to be something. Then the mind is capable of looking at things as they are, taking significance of what is. Then there is no battle between the false and the true. Then there is no search for truth apart from the false. So the important thing is to understand the process of the mind. And without understanding that, which is factual, not theoretical, not sentimental, romantic, going to dark rooms and thinking it all out, having images, visions, all that has nothing to do with reality. And as most of us are sentimental, romantic, seeking sensations, we are caught by ideas. And ideas are not what is. So the mind that is free of ideas, which are sensations, such a mind is free from illusion. Experience shows that understanding arises only when argumentation and conflict cease, and a kind of tranquility or intellectual sympathy is realized. This is true even in the understanding of mathematical and technical problems. However, this tranquility has only been experienced after every effort, analysis, examination or experimentation and so on has been made. Does this mean that this effort is a necessary, though not sufficient, preliminary to the tranquility? Experience shows that understanding arises only when argumentation and conflict cease and a kind of tranquility or intellectual sympathy is realized. This is true even in the understanding of mathematical or technical problems. However, this tranquility has only been experienced after every effort, analysis, examination, experimentation and so on has been made. Does this mean that this effort is a necessary, though not sufficient, preliminary to the tranquility? I hope you have understood the question. The question, to put it briefly, says, is not effort, digging in, analyzing, examining, necessary before the tranquility of the mind? Before the mind can understand, is not effort necessary? That is not technique necessary before creativeness? If I have a problem, must I not go into it, think it out fully, search it out, analyze it, dissect it, worry over it, and really be free from it? Then, when the mind is quiet, then the answer is found. This is the process we go through. We have a problem, we think about it, we question it, we talk it over, and the mind, becoming weary of it, is quiet. Then the answer is found unknowingly. With that process we are familiar. And the questioner says, is that not necessary? First, why do I go through that process? Let's put this question wrongly, whether it is necessary or not, but why do I go through that process? I go through that process, obviously, in order to find an answer. My anxiety is to find an answer, isn't it? That fear of not finding an answer makes me do all these things. And then after going through this process, I'm exhausted and say I can't answer it. Then the mind becomes quiet, then there is an answer. Sometimes, not always. So the question is not, is the preliminary process necessary, but why do I go through that process? Obviously, because I'm seeking an answer. I am not interested in the problem, but how to get away from the problem. I am not seeking the understanding of the problem, but the answer to the problem. Sure, there's a difference, isn't there? Because the answer is in the problem, not away from the problem. I go through this searching, analyzing, dissecting process in order to escape from the problem. But if I do not escape from the problem and try to look at the problem without any fear or anxiety and not look to an answer, mathematical or any other, political or religious, merely look at the problem, then the problem will begin to tell you. So this is what we do. We go through this process and eventually throw it aside because there is no way out of it. So why can't we start right from the beginning? Which is not to seek an answer to a problem. Which is extremely arduous, isn't it? Because the more I understand the problem, the more significance there is in it. To understand it, I must approach it quietly. Not impose on the problem my ideas, my feelings of like and dislike. Then the problem will reveal its significance. That is, why is it not possible to have the tranquility of the mind right from the beginning? And there will be tranquility only when I'm not seeking or